Soft, melancholic piano music begins, a slightly detuned upright. A young woman's voice with a faint Eastern European lilt begins, almost as if speaking to a very close friend. Oh, darling, you wouldn't believe. Honestly, you simply wouldn't. It started, as these things always do, with a dream. A foolish, glittering dream of sun-drenched terraces and perfectly chilled Risset. I had this vision, you see, of escaping. Of finding a little slice of paradise in Lanzarote. I deserve it, don't I? After all the ballet lessons, the endless piano practice being perfect, one deserves a little respite. And the pictures online, those deceptively idyllic photographs of the Suite Hotel Fariones Puerto del Carmen, they whispered promises. Promises of effortless elegance, of a refined escape. It was simply alluring. I am so good at spotting lies, you know. Growing up, you learn to read between the lines when everything is a line. I should have listened to that little voice, that prickle of unease. But no, I allowed myself to be seduced by the facade. I'm so bad at this, so unbelievably, tragically bad. We arrived, and even before stepping inside, the subtle unraveling began. It wasn't a grand, shocking revelation, mind you. It was a smell. A faint, unsettling scent of despair clinging to the air like a forgotten regret. And then the beggars. Actual, visible need right outside the entrance. Honestly, it's not the presence of poverty that's unsettling, darling, it's the contrast. The jarring dissonance between their plight and the supposed luxury the hotel pretends to offer. It felt predatory, like the hotel was profiting from the suffering nearby. Like it just didn't care. That's what upset me the most. That's when I knew it was going to be bad. And the entrance itself, skips overflowing with refuse. A construction site, a literal chaos of concrete and dust blocking half of the doorway. Can you imagine? It's like they were actively discouraging you from wanting to be there. That first impression. It was atrocious, truly, like a warning sign written in chipped paint. The receptionist, a woman whose face seemed permanently sculpted into a sneer, barely acknowledged our existence. She simply processed us. Took our money, all of it, up front, which, in retrospect, was an act of blatant manipulation, and handed over the keys with the grace of a butcher handing over a sausage. They call it a suite, you see. Oh, the audacity. It was, in reality, a cramped, dated room with a view of, you guessed it, the construction site. The constant jackhammering was a physical assault on the senses. The dust permeated everything, settling on surfaces like a fine layer of disappointment, and the room layout utterly illogical, a precipitous set of steps leading down to the living area. Steps. For someone with even the slightest mobility issue, it would have been an absolute disaster. We had informed them, of course, about my companion's difficulties, but were met with a shrug and the infuriatingly polite assertion that all rooms are like this, except the ground floor, which is full. Such casual disregard for basic human comfort. It's simply appalling. Honestly, it's a matter of basic respect. A hotel advertises itself as luxury. It should be accommodating. It should anticipate needs. It shouldn't be designed like a medieval torture chamber. But the real horror, darling, the truly insidious cruelty was the air conditioning, or rather, the lack of it. They switch it off, completely. From November 1st to March 31st. Regardless of the temperature, in November, when it was easily 80 degrees Fahrenheit inside, 80, it was stifling, suffocating. It felt like being slowly roasted alive. You think I wouldn't have read the fine print? I am not entirely without intelligence, you know. But who expects a hotel to deliberately inflict discomfort on its guests? It's barbaric, truly. It's an example of cost-cutting, of prioritizing profit over the well-being of pay.
In customers, the sheer disregard for basic human comfort, they eventually, after much pleading, provided a single fan. A pathetic, buzzing little thing that did little more than redistribute the hot air. And the explanation, it's on our website, on their website, as if that absolves them of all responsibility. It's like saying, we're knowingly making your stay miserable.
I was just looking into things around Suite Hotel Fariones, Puerto del Carmen, and like it's not great. Some of these businesses here, they take advantage of tourists, and it's so sad. Like okay, first some stores near Suite Hotel Fariones, Puerto del Carmen, they do this thing where they sell fake stuff, like sunglasses or bags, and pretend it's real. Tourists pay so much money, and then poof, it breaks in 2 days. And the worst part, the police raid these places sometimes, but they just open again. Like what happens to the tourists? They race stuck with junk and no way to get money back. So unfair. Then there's this other thing, some bars and shops. They mess with your card. You pay, and suddenly your card gets charged extra, or they swipe it more than once. One time, a group of tourists noticed weird charges after buying souvenirs near Suite Hotel Fariones, Puerto del Carmen. I bet they were so mad, probably had to call their bank, cancel cards, such a headache. And the scammers, maybe they got caught, maybe not, but it keeps happening. Oh, and the worst one, some stores ask for deposits, like for pool towels or whatever, and then just keep the money. No receipt, no proof. One tourist near Suite Hotel Fariones, Puerto del Carmen, lost 100 like that. Can you imagine? Just gone. And the store acted like they had no idea. That tourist probably cried, I would. It's just, why do people do this? Tourists come here to relax, and instead they get tricked. It's so wrong. I hope these scammers get caught one day. But for now, just be careful, okay?
The truth about businesses near Suite Hotel Fariones, Puerto del Carmen. The businesses near Suite Hotel Fariones, Puerto del Carmen, are a cautionary tale of how tourism can go wrong. The area is plagued by overpriced mediocrity, poor service, and a general sense of apathy toward customers. If you're expecting charm, value, or even basic competence, you might leave disappointed. Let's start with Biosfera Plaza Shopping Center, which is less a shopping paradise and more a masterclass in false advertising. Shops, few and forgettable. The real stars here are the food stalls, though stars is too generous. Take the waffle and crepe stand, where the owner treats customers like an inconvenience rather than paying guests. One visitor described him as the embodiment of abysmal customer service, and honestly, that might be an understatement. Then there's the churros situation. At Churreria Artesanal, prices seem to materialize out of thin air. 10 euros for a dozen small churros, 15 euros for what was advertised as 5 euros, some call it a tourist trap, others call it daylight robbery. Either way, the only thing freshly cooked here is the audacity. Even chain stores aren't immune. Zara in Biosfera Plaza somehow manages to make fast fashion feel slower, with staff so rude that when a customer tried to complain, the manager claimed they were all named Zara. A creative way to avoid accountability, but not exactly professional. Now, let's talk about Mumbai Masala, where the only thing spicier than the food is the frustration of dining there. The service moves at the speed of a sloth on vacation. One group waited an hour just for their main course, only to find their table still cluttered with starter plates and empty glasses. When they asked for cutlery, nothing. When they asked for a manager, excuses about new staff. And then there's the food, bland, overpriced, and occasionally mysterious. A chicken tikka masala with no tikka flavor, garlic naan with no garlic. One diner called it the worst curry I've had in 28 years on this planet. At these prices, you'd expect edible food, not lukewarm disappointment served in a fancy dish. Over at Café de la Plaza, the coffee is as bitter as the service. One guest waited 20 minutes just to be acknowledged, only to get a scalding hot, overpriced cup of regret. The staff, some barely speak Spanish in Spain, and others act like smiling is illegal. A visitor who dared to admire the cafe's porcelain decor was met with disdain, as if curiosity were a crime. As for the food, a bacon sandwich so sad it could star in its own tragic play. Ketchup in tiny packets, passed off as tomato sauce for an extra euro. The only thing delicate here is your patience. Then there's rooftop starlight open-air cinema, where the concept is romantic, but the execution is anything but. Uncomfortable chairs, overpriced tickets, and staff who seem to resent your presence. One family paid 197 euros for the experience, only to be scolded for daring to bring their own snacks. The real horror show isn't the movie, It's the bill. Finally, La Delicata is a cocktail bar, where the cocktails are as weak as the excuses. A Long Island iced tea with no alcohol, a waffle falsely advertised as homemade it was from a bag. And let's not forget the seating policy: couples are banished to tiny tables, while larger groups get priority. Romance is dead, and this bar killed it. So, what's the verdict? Businesses near Suite Hotel Fariones, Puerto del Carmen, are a mixed bag, if the bag is filled with expired snacks and false promises. If you must visit, keep expectations low and wallets guarded, because in this tourist zone, perfection is a myth, and mediocrity is the standard.